Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Sir, since 1959, after so many years, we are amending the Pharmacy Act. The present Pharmacy Act of 1948 and the Drugs Act of 1940 are the two instruments to sustain the growth of the country, which has already undergone so much changes in the field of specialization in various branches of pharmaceutical works during the period of 2 decades at least. Sir, thousands of unregistered and unlicensed pharmacists and compounders, especially in the recently urbanized areas and villages, have taken up the profession of pharmacists as their main profession for their livelihood. The government, though belated, have come forward today with a bill to help these pharmacists and compounders so that their source of livelihood can be protected. Sir, similar is the situation in the Union Territories. In this situation, the central bill in the field of pharmacy, drugs, and cosmetics is very essential. I support it with some observations and reservations. Sir, the bill seeks wider representations in the council with expert knowledge. The bill seeks induction of specialized knowledge and standardization of the professions of pharmacists who are unregistered and still unlicensed, and compounders who have got no certificates or diplomas yet. In the absence of such an essential law, there was no discipline in the field of pharmacy and pharmaceutical works. This sense of indiscipline created conditions which resulted in chaos and corrupt practices. In the field where inspectors work, there is havoc which can not be put at end to without such an amendment. Sir, in our country, pharmacists work in villages, especially like doctors. There are patent medicines these days, but the pharmacists and compounders work like doctors. Poor people go to hospitals. They have to stand in queue for 3 or 4 hours to get some ticket, but they even refuse to have medicines because there is also havoc in this field and medicines are also in short supply in hospitals. Such is the situation. I do not know how far this bill will remove this havoc in the field of supply of medicines. In this connection, I would urge upon the Ministry to nationalize those limited companies which are under IDPL for bulk production and for erecting such confidence which would be helpful to the pharmacists as well as compounders. Sir, our country is very vast. There are union territories and 23 states. The pharmacists and compounders who are without any license are thousands in number. They should be encouraged to qualify themselves. They should be trained by the government inspectors. There they can be helpful to the ailing poor people who can not go to the doctors and are unable to put their visiting fees. I also urge upon the ministry that the government should initiate action to organize these pharmacists. If they are organized properly, they can get a fair deal from the health department. Otherwise, their agitation will be scattered throughout the country and they will not get anything. Sir, their organization and association can cooperate with the machinery of the government in the matter of implementation of this act. For the full implementation and operation of this act, the key man is the inspector. If the inspectors are not adequate in numbers, better trained and well paid, the situation will not improve. If this is not done, then I apprehend that the implementation of this act will be a failure. Both the inspectors and the pharmacists can help in the proper implementation of the act. The cooperation of the pharmacists can be sought by the government. I would also urge that the committees should be created. Council should accommodate representation from the pharmacists. That will also be helpful in the implementation of this act. Sir, today we are always talking about the participation of the workers and employees in the management. I think there should be a national body, a state body, and an inspectorate under the state body. These three organizations, along with the Pharmacists Association, should be coordinated and integrated. Sir, the state governments are callous. The objects and reasons of this bill state that the state government during the last more than 21 years did not give any effect to certain clauses of the act. I do not depend on the state governments. I do hope that the central government will give some guidelines in every matter of importance and particularly when that matter concerns the national aspect. The government should give some guidelines so that the pharmaceutical works, pharmacists, inspectors, and the councils of pharmacists can be disciplined and are helpful in the growth of the country's health. Sir, if this coordination is not brought forward, there will be a mechanical order of functioning. If the government is serious to implement this act, they should take sufficient care to coordinate all these tiers into one comprehensive whole so that the national health assets can be properly utilized. Clause 10 of the bill enumerates the tasks of the inspectors, but there is no provision to punish the inspectors who are found guilty of exercising power under this act. In the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, which has been passed, we have made a provision. The provision says that if an inspector in the food department exercises his power illegally, he will be punished. There is no such provision in this amending bill. I think the inspectors have a monopoly power to harass the people, to inspect wherever they like, and to suppress the report that is necessary for them to be sent to the registrar. There is no time limit for the inspector to report to the registrar. There is no time limit for investigation of the complaints received by them, and there is no time limit for investigating or instituting proceedings. This loophole will lead to corruption. So, I would request that a time limit should be fixed within which complaints should be investigated and the proceedings should be completed and action taken.